Humanity used to believe the sun was something sacred, unreachable, a colossal fire that governed our lives but remained far beyond our touch. Yet as the centuries turned and technology matured in ways no one had predicted, that belief faded into history. What once seemed divine became a field of study, and what once felt impossible became a breakthrough. The ability to compress sunlight itself, with gravitational folding and stabilized fusion fields. Scientists learned to capture and store the sun's energy inside small, glowing orbs called These warm, golden devices carried enough power to revive entire ecosystems, light frozen worlds, and sustain civilizations whose stars were dying. For the first time in cosmic history, humanity became the galaxy's supplier of light. Alien civilizations approached Earth not with weapons, but with diplomacy and hope. Their homes were dimming, their skies were fading into permanent twilight. Humanity, the once fragile species from the pale blue dot, was now exporting sunlight to worlds thousands of light years away. Trade flourished. Knowledge flowed. Starships lined Earth's orbit in peaceful patterns resembling cosmic marketplaces. Humanity's influence expanded until it reached corners of the galaxy that had never heard of Earth only decades before. Technological leaps accelerated. Cities glowed brighter. Space stations glittered like pearls in the darkness. For a brief, golden era, the galaxy saw humanity as a beacon. But every beacon casts a shadow, and somewhere deep in that shadow lived a civilization known as the Varuan Dominion, a species shaped by conquest, driven by the hunger of dying stars. The Varuan had survived for millennia by draining energy directly from smaller suns, consuming star systems without hesitation or remorse. But now, their own empire's central star, Vora Prime, approached collapse. And a dying empire, especially one built on domination, becomes dangerously desperate. One silent morning, Earth's orbital monitors began to dim, not from malfunction, but from obstruction. A colossal shadow spread across the upper atmosphere as the Varuan fleet emerged from hyperspace. Their ships were enormous, like drifting fortresses forged from black metal and war scars. In a visual broadcast that spread across every screen on Earth, the Varuan delivered a single, chilling message. Deliver your sun, or be consumed in its death. They didn't want Sun-Capsules. They wanted the star itself. If they extracted even a fraction of the sun's core, Earth's orbit would and humanity would vanish in a chain reaction of frozen nights and burning tides. The planet had hours before the Dominion initiated extraction. Panic spread instantly. Governments scrambled. Communication networks flooded with fear, and billions stared upward, unable to comprehend the scale of the threat. But humanity, with all its flaws and contradictions, has always possessed a strange resilience. Fear may shake us, but it rarely stops us. In an emergency summit aboard the Solar Federation station, engineers, scientists, and military leaders argued, debated, and pleaded for a solution. No one believed they could defeat the Varuan. The enemy fleet was simply too large, too advanced, too brutal. Then, from the chaos of fear and debate, a single radical idea emerged. An idea so outrageous it silenced the room. Humanity had mastered the technology to compress sunlight. A microsun, an artificially engineered star, small enough to construct, stable enough to survive, and powerful enough to terrify anything that challenged it. The moment the decision was made, every solar forge, orbital, reactor, and energy facility across Earth and its colonies shifted into emergency mode. Cargo ships carried plasma. Magnetic foundries heated beyond safe limits. Engineers worked without sleep. The microsun burned with controlled fury, radiating waves of heat and power the galaxy had never seen from an engineered source. And at that precise moment, humanity broadcast a message to the Varuan. If you approach again, you will face a star built by our hands. The Varuan dismissed it as a bluff until sensors detected the radiation spike. When the containment field around the microsun was relaxed by only a fraction, a surge of energy blasted outward, powerful enough to shove the Varian flagship backward. Shield networks cracked. Armor plates softened. Commanders panicked as they realized humanity had accomplished the unthinkable. They had forged a star and weaponized it. The Dominion, who had crushed dozens of civilizations and fed on countless suns, retreated for the first time in their empire's history, not because they were defeated, but because they finally understood the truth. Humanity was no longer just another young species. It was a civilization that could create the very thing the Varuan sought to steal. A civilization capable of shaping light, bending fusion, and building stars in the dark. In the days that followed, the galaxy's perception of Earth changed forever. Former skeptics sent ambassadors, not in fear, but in respect. Treaties strengthened, trade expanded, and across countless worlds, children learned a new legend. The humans were the species that crafted their own sun, the species that refused to fear the dark, the species that transformed stolen sunlight into a symbol of survival. And thus, the galaxy learned a simple truth. Never underestimate humanity, for they are not just keepers of light. They are makers of it.